The full-time whistle has just blown in Durban, and these are my thoughts immediately following the match. I would love to know yours. This is not going to be a blow-by-blow account of the game, or I'll do it as best I can, but this is just me hopping on straight away following the final whistle with my immediate thoughts, gut reaction, emotional hot takes, and leave me yours as well. I'll return on the channel and give some more considered thought later, but this is one of those games where this is perfect. I want to capture the feelings that I have very, very close to the resumption of a match, because, spoiler alert, it finished 67 points to 30 in what was an absolutely insane game of rugby. So much fun, but nuts. Now, I've been in Durban for a Springbok match. I was there in 2024 when Ireland won with that last-minute drop goal, Kieran Frawley, and I was there that night. And take my word for it, if you've not been, there was a massive party beforehand in the outer fields with everyone having a braai and some brandies and beers. But even after a defeat, it was just party central. It's a party town, win, lose or draw, and Kings Park and then Schlanger was absolutely bouncing. I cannot imagine what it's going to be like after that performance. And another serious statement made, another serious second half performance from this South Africa team, who became the first and only team in this year's Rugby Championship to win 2 games consecutively, and it puts them in pole position to wrap up and retain the Rugby Championship for the first time ever if they manage to get a win next week. And you would not bet against them after that performance, and with some of the names taken and broken bodies that there were on the Argentina side, and I hope everyone is fit and well and recovered. But the psychological damage that could do to Argentina, as much as the physical damage, could be significant, because we have just seen, I mean, all the chat going into this game in the build-up was that this is going to be tight, it's going to be tense. I think my prediction was South Africa by a couple of scores, by 12 points. I think my prediction was 32-20. I was miles off. But then everyone was. Nobody really saw that. Well, actually, I got one message from a friend of mine, a South African fan based in Wales, who messaged and said when it was still tight, we're going to win this one by 20, being the Springboks. And he said it was the brandy talking in his next message, but he undercooked it. 37 points the difference. Mad game. There were some weird moments, weren't there? So much to talk about. There was rugby's version of an own goal. There was yellow cards and penalty tries. There was the crowd going absolutely bananas and Sweet Caroline being played, obviously, and Backstreet Boys and all sorts of other tunes by the DJ. And then there was total silence, which, honestly, it's something that's strange. I was in Ellis Park when Australia stunned South Africa right at the start of the Rugby Championship. And it's so weird being in a rugby stadium that is completely silent. And Kings Park was stunned into silence again. But ultimately, the game is going to be remembered for, and when I say remembered, I don't just mean now and for the foreseeable. I think this could be remembered for many, many years to come. I honestly think, I may bump into you in a bar sometime many years from now, or you might be chatting to someone else, and we will talk about this particular match for Sasha Fineberg and Gomazulu. It was his 15th test appearance. Sasha FM, my favourite radio station. It was his 15th test appearance, but I think this is the one where he properly announced himself in the test arena. He's had incredible moments in games. He's had really strong games. He's been incredible for the Stormers. He's done really good things on the international level. But the absolute generational greatest fly halves that we've ever seen, guys like Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, players at that level, what they do is grab whole test matches by the scruff of the neck and they just boss it. And they seem to be operating on a different level and seeing things before anyone else and making decisions quicker than anyone else. And even if Sasha FM went to bed last night and dreamt of a performance, he could not have dreamt a better 80-minute performance than that. It was sensational. It was unbelievable. And it wasn't just the incredible athleticism, like the speed for the first try where he chased his own kick, spotting the open space and wheels, or the ridiculous, outrageous 360 dummy spin and score. Or I can't even remember his second try. Oh yeah, just before half-time, the footwork, beating 3 men in a phone box and then getting over the line. It wasn't just that athleticism, speed. It was the crossfield kick for Cheslin Colby's try, just perfectly weighted. The different variation of the kicks, the bombs were brilliant. The flat kicks cross field, the little dinks, the distribution, the offloads out the back. And he did it. The context of the game is all important, because had it been 37 points, was it, which is a record number of points that any South African player in the history of game has ever scored in a single test match. I mean, he's 23 years old and he's just got that accolade. 37 points. And even when he wasn't scoring from the boot or scoring tries himself, he was the creator of many of the other points as well. I can't even remember what I was going to say now. I've just lost it. I mean, there were jokes coming in the WhatsApp groups I'm in, taking the mickey, because I do talk about Sasha FM a lot, and I have done quite a bit. But now I feel vindicated, because there was a few messages from mates of mine who've listened to me going on about him for ages, and they've gone, oh yeah, fair enough, he's quite good, isn't he? Unbelievable. Right, what can I say about this one? Yeah, I mean, the South Africa just bossed it, didn't they? I'll get to Argentina in a minute, who made a bunch of errors and just ran out of steam, but huge pressure at scrum. Defensively, I thought Dialende and Moody just put so much pressure in the midfield. The scrum beasted Argentina's for the most part. They made a mess of Argentina's line-out, which up until this game was the best in the Rugby Championship. Yeah, and it was a complete performance all round. I thought Pieter-Steph du Toit was godlike, the way he played it again. But 1-23, Argentina really made it difficult and showed what a good team they are, and they had moments. But this is ominous for everyone else, because it feels like there's been a new level unlocked in this last couple of weeks. And it feels like that complete kind of total rugby, we can muscle up front and absolutely bully you there, but we've got wheels and flair and skill behind as well. But it was a weird first half. Let me get into that, because, yeah, and I mean, you've just heard me sort of pour out my thoughts on Sasha FM. I think the guy is generational, and I think if there was a rugby video game, and there isn't one, but if you were making a rugby video game, Rugby 26, let's say, like a FIFA football game, you put him on the cover, don't you? You put him on the cover. Him, and then the only one that comes close, well, the one at the moment you would have said would be DuPont, but yeah, Sasha FM seems like the kind of guy that you can market the game of rugby union. And that's not just because he's a wonderful rugby player, which he is, and he showed that at the highest level over 80 minutes. But as a human being, he is just a really special bloke. I mean, if you haven't seen the clip of him as captain for Bishop's under-14s rugby team, giving a little end-of-season speech, go and look at that if you want to see the kind of character of the man. And I've experienced that firsthand. It was at Ellis Park, that game I mentioned I was at when Australia beat the Boks. And Sasha was in the media area and just came up, handshake, eye contact. I really appreciate what you do. And he took the time to speak to people. And so, yeah, he's special talent. Anyway, I could go on at length. Yeah, Argentina. Do you know where it all went wrong for them? No tears during the national anthem. There was lots of passion, but there was no tears. And I've said before, there is a direct correlation between the amount of people crying and the likelihood of an Argentinian win. So I think really it was lost there. Yeah, that was game over for Argentina. But actually, they kind of made it really, really difficult for the Boks in that particularly in the first half hour. It was a really cagey start. There were errors. Argentina were making it a really bitty game. Scrum Pen got things underway. That was Thomas du Toit getting the better of Vivas. Scrum Pen, 3 points for South Africa. And then Argentina got a little bit of their gameplay going, the quick tip passes to beat the rush defence. South Africa's rush defence against Argentina, who are a team that don't mind going back 20 metres to get round the outside, was really interesting. But actually, South Africa contained them and made Argentina kind of come back inside quite a lot. Big collisions, which Argentina were getting the better of. And I thought Gonzalo Garcia was excellent in that first quarter. The tempo he was playing at, that won a penalty for offside. I think it was 3-3. Carreras gets the pen. South Africa were coughing up quite a few penalties. There was a scrum pen and then followed by another offside, 6-3. And then Ethan Hooker had the first big chance when I think Sasha Fineberg and Ngomazulu put the bomb up. Hooker caught it and then knocked it on when he was in Argentina's 22, but it was a penalty anyway, so it was 6-6. South Africa's defence was really good. Carreras had a great kick as well to get Argentina in deep in South African territory, but then the line out messed up, and that was another story of the game for Argentina. They had 3 or 4 in a row at the start of the game. Lineouts completely messed up. So they couldn't get any flow, but they were getting the scoreboard pressure through the 3 points. Carreras with another one, 9-6. And then South Africa's attack clicked. Really nice approach play. Offload from Peter Steph-Toy was one moment that just breached the gain line, and from there flooded through. Eben Etzebeth on the carry, but it got chalked off because Reinach knocked it on from the breakdown because Vivas kicked the ball out of his hand. So it was a penalty. But then Malcolm Marx scored from that kick to the corner anyway. There was a bit of edge. There was some niggle. There was a couple of scuffles. But it was 11-9 when Santi Carreras missed a penalty kick that would have put Argentina back in front. And that was 36 minutes. So just think about the final score, 67-30. It was 11-9 after 36 minutes. What happened between 36 minutes and the half-time whistle was nuts. Absolutely insane. And it started with a major error from Cheslin Colby. Such a big error. So he dots the ball down, goal line dropout, and he's clearly got goal line dropout in his head. So he does a kind of dropout kick towards, was it Sasha Fineberg and Ngomazulu under the post, who would have then kicked it off. But that technically, in the eyes of the law, made the ball live. It was technically a dropout. Chocobares recognised that, scored the try, and it's a try. And yeah, I'd credit Chocobares' awareness as much as the absolute brain fart from Cheslin Colby. But one interesting thing, it did make me think, if that is the case, you could see Cheslin Colby wasn't trying to take a dropout. He was just drop kicking the ball to his mate to take the dropout. So I felt sorry for Colby, but it was a big mistake from him. But if that's the case, does that mean then that if it was the same situation, if there is, let's just say there is a penalty and you just kick the ball out of your hand to your mate. Oh no, sorry, if Colby had been in the same situation and he just kicked the ball out of his hand to Sasha FM, would that have meant it would have been a scrum for an wrongly taken drop kick, if you see what I'm saying? You can see the shock on Cheslin Colby's face and absolute silence from the crowd. But in any case, Sasha FM made up for it. Argentina messed up the restarts. That was another big factor in their game. You know, but they just invited pressure. And it was partly because I thought Kane and Moody was great on restarts for South Africa when they put it short, but Argentina just did not take care of business there. And when you've just coughed up points, when you've just got points, you don't want to cough any more up. And they did it a couple of times in quick succession. Argentina messed up the restart. Sasha FM spots some space, kicks it. No one in the backfield for Argentina. Another error there. And has the wheels himself to get there and score the try. But then another try. It was the yellow card, penalty try. Absolutely correct decision from Angus Gardner. 100% right. It was illegal from Malcolm Marx, which did prevent the try, which was going to be going over. So it was a penalty try and a yellow card. And you thought, all right, that's the end of the first half then. Argentina somehow have got themselves a lead here. But it was who? Sasha Fineberg and Ngomazulu that pointed out to Angus Gardner, no, there was time on the clock when they went over, so we should have a restart. Rightly so, have a restart. And a really good phase of play, patient approach, South Africa probing, good retention, variation of options, keeping the ball in hand, and that 360 pirouette, some kind of, I don't know, you see that in gymnastics or ice skating or something, not on a rugby pitch. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, 25-23, an absolutely bonkers end to the first half. And you would not have thought at that point it was going to end 67-30. I cannot make sense of that second half. It's going to need another watch and a couple of drinks, I reckon, to try and make sense of what happened in that second half. But in short, South Africa ground Argentina into dust with a potent blend of pure power, pace, and the constant application of pressure. I've used this analogy before, but South Africa at their best, and usually through their power game, are like a boa constrictor. Yeah, like the 2019 World Cup winning Boks, like a boa constrictor. They would just apply the pressure, scrum, maul, aerial kick, pin you in your half and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until it was lights out. But they're doing that, and on top of it, cutting loose. And it is irresistible when it goes well. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to say, actually. Bearing in mind what happened earlier today in the New Zealand-Australia game, and all the focus on the officiating, which I don't like. There's 80 minutes, and if you've poured over an 80-minute game and said, yeah, there was absolutely nothing we could have done to have changed the result, then you can start having a look at refereeing decisions and blaming a ref. So I just don't like the amount of focus there was on the officiating. I was a little bit disappointed, therefore, that on the Supersports coverage, which is what I got watching in the UK, well, I'm not going to watch the Spanish language coverage, am I? But anyway, I think it was Brayton Polser, who is a legend. Brayton Polser's brilliant, but the first thing he said when they went to him at half-time was, well, we're not going to get anything from Angus Gardner, are we? And I was looking at it thinking, all right, it was a cagey first half of the first half, but you've got a wild a bunch of rugby to look at, and you've got an incredible couple of tries from Sasha Fineberg and Gomazulu, and you've got incredible moments to go over, and the first thing you want to talk about is Angus Gardner's not going to give us anything, which I don't agree with anyway. I thought he had a good game. And I thought if there were any errors in that first half, it was South Africa shooting themselves in the foot. Nothing to do with the officials. I just don't like generally the chat about officials, and particularly at half-time in a rugby match, it shouldn't be the first thing you talk about. But anyway, that's it was more a gripe I had with the Stan Sport coverage earlier today. And I thought actually, well, unfortunately, the second half means there's no chat about that. The second half started, Visa on Kremer. These giant men absolutely walloping each other. I'm here for it. But it just backfired in the end because Argentina could not live with it. Sasha's crossfit for Colby. Colby doesn't even break stride, ghosts in, and then it's the... Oh, no, I'm one ahead. Now's the Sasha hat-trick, isn't it? It was the footwork before half-time. Now it's the Sasha pirouette and score. Albanese with the one moment from Argentina in that second half. Really nice try. Juan Cruz Malia with beautiful footwork. Inside lift to Albanese, who shows some good pace to go through. But then, what a try that one from Morné van den Berg. Really, really good attack. And you could just watch that whole passage of play. And it's the variation of live options, the different ball carrying options that the scrum half can hit, the 10 can hit, backs, forwards. It was like total rugby. And Argentina could not live with it. And they were just getting shredded. Marnie came on. And there was still time for a couple more tries. He got one. Pieter-Steph du Toit got another try. Oh, he'd already scored. I might have missed a PSDT try. And he was giving Argentina PTSD in that game. I thought he was absolutely magnificent as well. But it was fitting that the final play of the game was Sasha Fineberg and Gomazulu knocking over a conversion. So... I wanted to do this. I like doing these videos immediately following the game because it's just raw, unfiltered, immediate thoughts. But I don't think I'm going overboard on Sasha FM, my favourite radio station. Am I going overboard? It was an incredible performance, but I genuinely think it was a brilliant team performance first and foremost. You don't score 67 points unless it is. But that was the game he's announced himself, isn't it? To the world. There will be people that knew a little bit about him and maybe seen the odd game in England who will now know who he is, what his name is, what he's about, what he can do. And he showed, obviously everyone in South Africa knows what he's about. People in the Southern Hemisphere, the Big Four, they know what he's about. But on a world stage level, in a big game, he's just announced himself. And the fact that Marnie Lebok was so good in Wellington 2 weeks ago, the fact that Andre Pollard is a world-class 10 as well, it's frankly outrageous, the level of talent. But there we go. So yeah, thank you for coming to my Sasha FM TED Talk. I'll see you on the next video. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and yeah, leave your thoughts down below.